Hello and welcome. You're watching our special coverage here on Firstpost. This is, of course, Mission Paris. And if you've just joined us, you would know that in just moments earlier, India clinched the third medal at Paris Olympics. It was also a bronze, and it first two medals. India has clinched another medal, and this also coming from another youngster. This is Swapnil Kusale. You can probably see him right behind me there, flaunting that bronze medal, and quite an achievement that, because it came in one of the most toughest disciplines, toughest events of shooting. He won bronze in the three-position rifle event, and it's not easy to do this, as we know. 50-meter three-position rifle event. That's the latest medal that India has notched up. There were a lot of promises after the last couple of editions went medalless for the shooting contingent. There were a lot of promises that India would finally break that barrier. This would be the edition where shooting would come into its own once more, because India has always been known to produce some brilliant moments of glory, especially in shooting. We've seen that in the past. We saw that in 2008, in 2004, of course, with Rajavardhan Singh Rathore, a little later as well in 2012, and that was the last of it, when Gagan Narang and Vijay Kumar won India two medals rather, at the London Olympics. But yes, that's the latest that we're getting from Paris, India notching up its third. And if I have to just put in some inputs here on how difficult this is. It is the three-position 50-meter air rifle event. Now, the three positions that are normally that the shooter takes is the kneeling position, and then the prone position, and then, of course, the standing positions. And there are 45 shots. What you gather is, obviously, it's very difficult. When you think about shooting and you think about accuracy and you think about how the shooter needs to be accurate just by standing and being very still, you can imagine in uncomfortable positions, whether it's kneeling, whether it's lying prone, which is on your stomach, it is that much more difficult to try and be that accurate. And because there is severe competition in this particular event, it's not very easy. Yes, Manu Baka provided that impetus right at the start. It was on the weekend when she won the first medal for India, and that, of course, came in the air pistol event. Her numbers as well for you, just to rehash what that was. She shot 580 points in that qualifying round, and then, of course, came in and almost missed the silver medal there. In fact, Swapnil also came close. He came close to doing so in the earlier edition, but he's been quite a promising athlete for India. Again, someone who comes from very, very modest backgrounds, part of the railways. He's been a ticket examiner, and from there to harbor dreams of making it on the biggest stage here for India. It doesn't get more special, because the nerves are bound to be there. When you're speaking to all of these shooters, you're speaking to these athletes who've been part of these events. Even someone like Gagan Narang has spoken about how the pressure gets to you. The pressure of the moment, the pressure to deliver, when everyone is watching you and you know that this is the moment. Because when you've made it to the final, there's expectations of nothing less than a medal. And when that is on you as an athlete, it isn't very easy. And of course, for any particular athlete, it is bound to be difficult. And it wasn't any different for Swapnil Kusale as well. Someone who's not seen this sort of a glory before. This is, after all, his first Olympic medal. He is 28 years old. Of doing well around the circuit. In fact, 2015, he'd beaten Gagan himself in one of these competition in a rifle event in the national championship. So someone who's been around for a while, but the moment gets to you no matter what your age is, no matter what your opponents are, who your opponents are. And even when I saw some of those visuals right after the event, the medal ceremony, it was all so heartwarming. You saw Swapnil Kusale standing there getting a selfie clicked with his other competitors there, the gold and the silver medalist, heartwarming that. But just looking at the way the performance went, Swapnil didn't start very strong. He didn't start very strong when it came to the final, when it started with the kneeling position. It is tough to pace yourself really well through three different positions, and it's a long contest. You know, you have to pace yourself well, you have to be that much more accurate, whether it's while kneeling, whether it's in the prone position. So it's not really easy, and you have to keep recalibrating your strategy, the way you are positioning yourself to shoot. Everything changes with every position. So it's difficult to pace yourself, and he had started slow, but he built his momentum and delivered exactly in crunch situations. In fact, that has been a bit of a pattern here with a lot of the athletes who've been performing, not just in medal rounds. And we're talking about a lot of athletes who are making it to round of 16, making it to quarterfinals. We've seen that across different disciplines, whether it's table tennis, whether it's badminton. The kind of method to all the madness, to be calm in all the mayhem around, that's, I think, been a hallmark of all the Indian athletes in particular in this edition here. That's something that we're seeing playing a common thread, being a common thread across every performance, whether it was, Kusale earlier today, holding his nerve for the very first time on such a huge stage. And if I have to speak about someone holding their nerve and really dominating the world of sport, it can be no one else than Gagan Narang. And we have the privilege, of course, of the man himself, the Olympic medalist, someone who's brought India such joy and such pride, and of course now who's a bit of the mature elder brother, father figure to all the athletes there, the chef de mission, Gagan Narang himself. Gagan, thank you so much for giving us your time. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Rupha. Nice talking to you.
Gagan, I remember that image, and it was which we saw on Geo Cinema of you just jumping with joy when that first medal came in. The child in you clearly visible there. How's this campaign, how's these last few days been for you?
Well, as we all know that, medals in shooting have ended a 12-year drought. And I had mentioned earlier that, when you see a generational shift in a sport, it takes some time to kind of get back. And I think these 12 years of wait, I think the Indian shooting team has been preparing very calmly in the right direction and waiting to go all guns blazing, like I would say, in Paris. It started with Manu's medal, and then another medal from Manu, and now finally a medal from the rifle coming in. And I'm very, very happy that this medal was desperately needed, because the last rifle medal that we won was back in London. So absolutely fantastic it's feeling today.
What's the pattern that you see in this contingent? I know that there was so much of talks about, the shooting always gives us the medals, always gave India the medals, Gagan. We've seen that over the years. We've seen that, of course, with you bringing in it as well. When the talks came in that this would be the edition, what's the difference do you see in the younger athletes in this particular contingent that you're overseeing that has really made the difference with the kind of performance that we're seeing?
Well, I think it all started from Colonel Rajavardhan Rathore, and then Avinav Bindra winning the medal. We had finalist Soma Shirur, who was in the Olympic final in Athens in 2004. We had Abhinav again in the finals in 2016. We won 2 medals in London in 2012, and from Vijay and me. And I think the belief that, someone coming from a humble background and shooting being an expensive sport can win a medal changed the mindset of shooters. And I think come into this sport of shooting, we of course try to make it as accessible as possible. And national championships during my time used to be, I started in 1997 with I think 400 shooters in the national championship. And today we have over 20,000 shooters that participate in the national championship. And that is the shift that we are seeing in the sport of shooting because of these 4 Olympic medals that we have won. Now, the Indian shooters have started believing. We would say, okay, we just wanting to participate in the Olympic Games. When we went, we changed the mindset to say that yes, we can win medals. These athletes today are going in to win not just any medal. They're going in to win the gold medal. And that is very, very important, That's the change that these people have. That aim for the gold, you might just stop at bronze, and that's the reason why we have won these three medals. I'm hoping that the color of the medal will change in the next 2 days. When bronze, I'm hoping that we'll be able to win a gold and a
Yes, and we'll all
silver
be,
as well.
of course, we'll all be watching. But I have to ask you to tell everyone who's watching this right now, all viewers, how difficult the art of shooting really is, Gagan, to just stay still and be nearly perfect. What are the biggest challenges that shooting has, and to win a medal, how difficult is that?
Well, the first of all, the sport is very different from more exciting sports to watch. It is a very intrinsic sport. It is a very internal sport. It's about 100% or rather 500% control on your emotions, control on your heartbeat, control on your muscles, control on your technique, and to be able to deliver your processes that you followed and honed over a period of so many years under pressure.
Yeah.
And that is what is the difference between participation and becoming a champion. I think a champion always starts when everyone else quits. He hangs in there that 1 second longer than when everyone else quits. That comes from years of hard work and dedication and effort that you're putting in to train every day for this 1 hour of performance. And when you're in the Olympic Games, it's not just you who's shooting. It's your father, it's your mother, it's your brother, it's your dog, it's your dudwala, it's your newspaper wala. Everyone around you, the whole ecosystem around you is cheering for you. And I mean, for that 1 hour of performance.
Gagan, you put it so aptly. I have to ask you though, since we have you here, what is the one quality of Manu Bakar particularly? Because we saw, of course, Swapnil Kusale coming in today. You've spoken about him at length. What is it about Manu Bakar that's impressed you the most?
Form. And when you speak to Manu, you immediately realize in the first minute that she's not she's something really, really special. And every athlete in the Indian contingent is special. But when you speak to Manu, she, in shooting especially, I mean, I've spoken to so many shooters, but in shooting especially, she is so unfazed by what's happening around her. She's so focused, so dedicated, and the kind of dedication that is required to win multiple medals. And that is what she's been doing in this Olympics. And fingers crossed for a third medal.
Yes, fingers crossed. Before we let you go, I have to ask you about the competitions coming ahead, the events coming up. You did say the medal would hopefully transform, the color would hopefully change. What are the expectations? Whose events are you most excited about in the days to come ahead, especially when it comes to shooting?
Well, in shooting, definitely the three position women's event is an event that we are doing very well. We have been doing very well. And of course, Manu's main event, which is a 25-meter pistol along with Isha Singh. So looking forward to these two events in shooting now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gagan. And we really hope that joy keeps permeating. We want to see you always smiling. It's always a great picture. And we hope the smiles come in from other sporting disciplines pretty soon too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right, that was Gagan Narang, the chef de mission of the Paris edition of the Indian contingent. All smiles, obviously, because it's been another glorious day for India. It's been another eventful day for Indian shooting. Yet another medal, a bronze in the shape of Swapnil Kusale coming in there. And again, he spoke about how shooting has now become about not just a few joining in and believing that they can do this, but a lot of people in this country really believing that something like this is possible and making something special happen. So that wraps up this special live that we bring to you. We'll of course be bringing you more coverage as and when something happens around the games. And it's not just about India's campaign, it's also going to be of everyone around the world. So do stay tuned here on Firstpost for our special coverage, Mission Paris. Thanks so much for joining us.